Did you know the man who never missed a game, the quarterback who ruled Sundays for nearly 2 decades, almost lost it all? Not on the field, but in the real world? Brett Favre, the gunslinger from Kiln, Mississippi. A small-town boy with a big-time arm and an even bigger appetite for risk. He was born to a football coach, raised in the heat, throwing passes in the backyard until the sun went down. People in Kiln knew he had something special, but no one imagined he'd become the face of the NFL. Draft day, second round, Atlanta Falcons. Nobody thought much of him. He sat on the bench, watched from the sidelines. Then came the trade. Green Bay Packers, a sleepy Wisconsin town about to meet their new hero. Brett stepped on the field, threw rockets like nobody else, and never looked back. 297 consecutive starts. 3 straight MVPs. A Super Bowl ring. He played hurt, broken fingers, sprained ankles, bruised ribs. Didn't matter. He'd tape it up and go again. Fans saw him as unbreakable. Sponsors saw him as gold. Number 4 jerseys flew off shelves. But even Ironman crack. In 1996, the world learned he was hooked on painkillers. Vicodin. He was taking handfuls a day just to walk, just to throw. It wasn't toughness, it was survival. The NFL told him it had to stop. Brett checked into rehab. People thought it might be the end. Instead, he came back and won another MVP. The comeback was instant. The public forgave. The legend grew. Then came December 2003. His father, Irvin Favre, died suddenly of a heart attack. Brett was devastated. The Packers had a Monday night game against the Raiders. Everyone expected him to sit out, but he took the field. 4 touchdowns. A performance so perfect, so emotional, it became part of NFL folklore. That was Brett. Pain into power, again and again. But legends aren't perfect. By the late 2000s, the cracks began to show. After years with the Packers, the relationship soured. He was traded to the Jets in 2008. Then came rumors. A sideline reporter. Inappropriate messages. The NFL fined him, but he denied the worst allegations. His image took a hit, but he survived. Just like always. He retired, then unretired, played for the Vikings, faced the Packers as an enemy, beat them, lost to them. Each twist kept his name alive in headlines. When he finally walked away in 2010, he held nearly every major passing record in NFL history. Touchdowns, yards, wins, and fans thought, that's the end. The legend rides off into the sunset. But in 2020, Brett Favre's name came back. Not in the sports section, but in crime reports. Mississippi, one of the poorest states in America, millions in federal welfare funds meant to help families in need, somehow ended up paying for a volleyball stadium. At Southern Mississippi, the same school Brett once starred for, the same place his daughter now played volleyball. The headlines hit like a blitz. Favre linked to welfare scandal. Texts show Favre asking if media would find out. His name was everywhere. This wasn't a late interception or a playoff loss. This was a direct hit to his reputation. At first, Brett denied it all, said he had no idea the money came from welfare programs, said he was just trying to help his school. But the leaked messages painted a different picture, or at least that's what the press made it seem. In one, he allegedly asked an official, "If you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out?" The kind of line that burns into people's minds. The public reaction was brutal. People who once wore his jersey now called him a thief. His Hall of Fame image mask cracked wide open. And the storm was just beginning. The headlines didn't just mention Brett Favre, they screamed his name. TV anchors said it with that slow, heavy tone that makes you lean in. Hall of Fame quarterback. Welfare scandal. Words nobody thought they'd ever hear together. It all started with an audit. Mississippi's Department of Human Services found millions in federal welfare money had been misused. This wasn't pocket change. This was money meant to put food on the table for families who had nothing. And somehow some of it ended up funding a volleyball facility at Southern Miss. A facility Brett Favre had pushed for. The state's former welfare director was arrested. Nonprofit executives were indicted. One by one, people started talking, and every time they talked, Brett's name came up. He wasn't just a football legend now. He was part of a story about greed, politics, and betrayal. Reporters dug up text messages. One allegedly showed Brett asking, "If you were to pay me, is there any way the media can find out?" That one sentence lit a fire. To the public, it sounded like guilt in plain English. Favre said it was taken out of context. But out of context or not, it was everywhere. On TV, online, radio, late-night talk shows. The backlash hit fast. Sponsors pulled their ads. Old teammates avoided the topic in interviews. Talk radio hosts tore into him. "The man who took hits for a living," one said, "is now taking hits he can't dodge." But Brett didn't break, not publicly. No tearful press conference, no apology tour, just silence. For weeks, then months. Some people said it was smart, let the lawyers handle it. Others said it was cowardly. Either way, the mystery grew. Behind the scenes, the legal battle was ugly. Brett filed defamation lawsuits against sports commentators and state officials. He claimed the accusations had damaged his reputation, cost him money, and were flat-out lies. His lawyers argued that he had no idea where the funding came from, only that it was for a project he believed in. Meanwhile, prosecutors kept circling. Former welfare officials pled guilty. Some went to prison. The case against others dragged on. Every time a plea deal was announced, reporters rushed to see if Brett's name was in the paperwork. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. But the association never faded. The toll wasn't just legal or financial. In Kiln, Mississippi, the town that raised him, people whispered. Some defended him fiercely, others shook their heads. The local bar where they used to replay his Super Bowl win now had regulars debating whether the hometown hero had crossed the line. Months turned into years. The scandal stayed alive and burst, a new document here, a leaked text there, and every time social media lit up. His critics called him a thief. His defenders called it a witch hunt. Then came the twist. In 2023, several claims against Brett were quietly dropped. No flashing cameras, no grand victory statement. Just paperwork filed in court. On paper, it looked like a win. In reality, it left more questions than answers. Why drop the claims? Was it a lack of evidence? Or was it something else? Brett's legal team celebrated, but in the court of public opinion, the verdict was still split. For some, the dropped claims proved his innocence. For others, it was just proof the rich and famous play by different rules. Life went on. Brett showed up at charity golf tournaments, signed autographs, smiled for photos. The scandal faded from front-page news, but it never disappeared. Google his name, and it's still there, forever linked. Maybe that's the thing about Brett Favre. On the field, he was the king of comebacks. He could throw an interception, take a brutal hit, and still lead a game-winning drive. Off the field, there's no clock to run out, no final whistle. Some games just keep going, and in this one, Brett Favre is still playing. Not for yards or touchdowns, but for his legacy.